They know I got them vibes, so you know them fans watching me.
They in my chat with the shit. Oh, they must think they can stop me. See, we got Raj on the scope. Now don't get knocked out the lobby.
He is not on me. Now tell me, what do you see?
We send them out to the nation. LIB in our blood. We in the sky with this shit. Just think it came out.
See, it's 99% cap, 1% gameplay, 100% vibe. Don't bring that bullshit my way. Try your luck.
Let me
Go
teach you
against
how
the
to
vibe.
vibe.
Boy, you fuck. You gon' think on my grave with the way I make them tighten up. You'll be lucky if you even score. You should
me
read more.
teach you how to
Though I
vibe.
choose to live in peace, you should know I bleed war. I'm a recon man, one of the best in the sport. I keep a drone on my hip, I let it out to explore. They say the ops on the way. I see one, I know it's more. They just ran inside a building, my EMP on the floor. Make them panic, play support. Crypto going manic, they trying to figure out how I do assault damage. Real just mark the surroundings, I know they can't stand it. Murawski sending out his ghost and they don't understand it. I'm headed to the high grounds to get an overstanding. Now you from a distance, see your partners, they done left you stranded. Damn. You know you headed to the lobby, right? Sorry for your awful fight, I admit it was easy. Get you some practice or you always die. I know you doing that ping thing, they gone, made it out of sniper range. Level 1 knockdown shield, been 7 minutes in the fucking game, I'm devoted. Hit you with the devotion, hear it wind up, quick motion. Now I'm headed with the wind to your partners, but I'm focused. See, Goat just hit that beast on the hunt. Ghost is ghost, we reloaded, blow the EMP and we done. They know I got them vibes, so you know them fans watching me.
They in my chat with the shit. Oh, they must think they can stop me. See, we got Raj on the scope. Now don't get knocked out the lobby.
He is not on me. Now tell me, what do you see?
We send them out to the nation. LIB in our blood. We in the sky with this shit. Just think it came out the mud.
Is this thing on? Cam was always first. KT2 to GOAT. Sean said nobody cares except for you because you commented. If you didn't care, you wouldn't comment. Nano, what's popping? B Walker, let's get it, player. Yunko, Miami's finest. Craig say LFG. All right, everybody that's tapped in on Facebook, like, comment, share, follow the channel, daily content. Everybody that's tapped in on YouTube, daily podcast uploads, picture in picture, like, comment, share. If you're watching on Twitch, Amazon Prime, once a month you can sub to the channel for free. If not me, use it on another content creator on the platform. Picture in picture. And if you're not following on any of those or any other social media sites that I post on, follow and watch on Kick. No ads, up to 50 emotes free. Picture in picture. You do not have to be a sub to the channel to use the 50 stickers and emotes over there. Appreciate y'all being here. It's a Sunday. Hope y'all feeling good today. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. If you missed the daily shop talks, all you can tap back in on YouTube. I do a condensed version of what we do here in the beginning of the stream, which is shop talk, which is the podcast portion of the stream. So definitely gonna get into today's topics. Then I'll take y'all questions after that. Hope everybody having a blessed day. But let's get into why they really mad. Why they really mad? They really upset. College football playoffs. You got Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech with the bye. You got Oregon playing James Madison with the 5-12 matchup. Winner plays Texas Tech. Oregon with the home game. Ole Miss plays Tulane. Ole Miss in Oxford. Winner plays Georgia. Texas A&M hosts the Miami Hurricanes. Winner plays Ohio State. Oklahoma hosts the Capstone, the greatest college football program in the history of football, with the greatest coaches in the history of football, 18 national championships, the Alabama Crimson Tide in a rematch with Oklahoma. Winner plays IU and Kirk Cignetti. Obviously, I made the post. There's a lot of crying on there. And in the light of this college football playoffs, Notre Dame has opted out. Notre Dame ain't playing. Who cares? Suck on a lemon, Notre Dame. Suck on a lemon, Notre Dame. You know why? See, it's a lot of people that say Alabama get favoritism. We didn't get favoritism last year. Last year, we didn't make it in the playoffs. Did we cry? Did we say we not playing in our bowl game? No, we went and played our bowl game. And we reloaded, and this year we're in. Who did this before? Florida State did it before the 12 team when it was 4. They got left out. They held all their players out. They opted out. They got the wheels beat off by Georgia, and they ain't been back. And they ain't going to be back no time soon. So this is how you handle these situations, Notre Dame fans. You join a conference, or you don't get left out because the team you expect to be in over beat you already in this regular season. People complaining about Bama, saying it's favoritism, but anybody with a brain that's unbiased like Buddha would tell you Bama getting in is all about conference championships. If you want teams to continue scheduling out of conference and playing conference championships, you don't penalize teams when they lose in conference championships. And you're going to give me a bunch of lame excuses about teams that should be in. People say, well, Vandy should be in. Well, Bama played Vandy and they beat Vandy. Well, Notre Dame should be in over Miami. Well, Miami beat Notre Dame. Who else is you going to put in? Realistically, when you look at James Madison and Tulane, those are your culprits that you probably miss having Notre Dame and Vanderbilt or Texas or whoever else you thought should be there. But the reality is, when they did 2 teams, the 3rd team felt left out. When they did 4 teams, the 5th team felt left out. If they did 8, it'd be the 9th team. Now we put 12 teams in, and number 13 is mad. Nobody cares. But I like to hear y'all thoughts. What y'all thought about the CFP, college football playoff, how it came out. Say your Ducks is back. DeShamrick, what up? How do I feel about that win? We're going to get into the Titans second. We're going to start with the college football playoffs, and then we'll get in. He said Notre Dame is in the ACC and all their sports besides football. And then guess what? If they would have joined the ACC championship was won by Duke, a 7-5 team. But to be fair, let's say Notre Dame was in the ACC. The best team from the ACC is Miami, and Miami beat them. So I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, for all the teams that complain that they should be in, all you had to do is do what Bama did. That's all you got to do. Because you can't say strength of schedule. You can't say who have you beaten. You can't exclude head to head, which that's the biggest confusion to me of the people that complain is they want to exclude head to head. Like, how do we play sports?
Let me
Then
teach you how to
doesn't
vibe.
matter. Can anybody explain to me how that works? Because at the end of the day, if you want to exclude the fact that Bama played Wisconsin out of conference, then turned around and beat Georgia, then turned around and beat Vanderbilt, then turned around and beat Missouri, then turned around and beat Tennessee, then turned around and beat South Carolina, then turned around and beat LSU, then lose to Oklahoma by 2, get in the SEC championship, and lose in the state of the team you lost to that you already previously beat away at their stadium. So it's like, at that point, I'd ask this question to y'all or anybody who disagrees, because nobody who disagrees with me would get in the booth and have this debate with me. They won't do this. But I do appreciate the comments and the back and forth, the banter. But any team that didn't make it in the playoffs, could they have ran that gauntlet? The question ain't, should Bama be in? Your question is, it can't be, should Notre Dame be in over Miami because they played head to head this year? You should say, do you think that Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, and Texas should be in over Tulane and James Madison? That's the question you have to answer yourself. Bama can't be in your equation. Bama can't be in your equation. It said it needs to do a 16-team playoffs and 1 and 2 teams get buys. I mean, it's technically that now. I mean, you got 12 teams in the top 4 get buys.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
And the next 4 get home field advantage in the next round. I mean, if this is the case, if we crying for Notre Dame, a team that's not in the conference, a team that lost to the team that got the last spot that they wanted, because it's not like Miami was 9 and Bama was 10. Bama was 9 and Miami was 10, which meant that Notre Dame was right behind them, which meant that they went to head to head. So, I mean, I don't see wanting to add 4 more teams.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
And then if we going past this 12, which I already think is too much, then the regular season don't matter. Because if you add Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Texas, and pick the other team that you put in, all of these teams have, like, Bama and Oklahoma is a rematch. Ole Miss and Tulane is a rematch. You know, it's gonna be some rematches that pop back up. You know, so I mean, you already, because of conference championships, you got conferences questioning should they have a conference championship, or questioning should they cut back out of conference games or less conference games. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, do you want to remove conference games, conference championship, or do you want to remove out of conference games? Like, it's a lot of stuff that you remove if you start punishing these teams. But most of it comes from, we don't like the team that got in. But they'll say that it's biased for Bama, but it worked against Bama last year. It was Bama fatigue. So this year, Bama gets in on strength of schedule and losing to a team that they already beat in the conference championship. Because then you'd say, okay, well, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M would be getting in without having to play that game. What would happen if Texas A&M, Ole Miss, or Oklahoma played Georgia and lost? Are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? Just flip the coin around. Then you'd say, you can't put a team in that position. Then people would be like how Notre Dame is being weird now and just like opt out. Teams start opting out of the championship game. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? He said it's nice for Tulane, James Madison schools like that to be in. We really think they'll be competitive enough. Tulane and Ole Miss played and it was 45-10. Yeah. It's like, realistically, it would have been better if Tulane and James Madison played a January 1st bowl game. But instead of having them in, we had Notre Dame and Vandy or Notre Dame and Texas. Just to be honest, like if we put in the 12 best teams, but right now they got 12 best with a outlier. The point is they should just remove the outlier, and it's good for certain teams to get certain things, but give me the top 12 teams in the final poll. And if Tulane and James Madison ain't in that final 12, then because I mean Tulane at 11-2 is not going to be ranked higher than Texas and Vanderbilt. And it's crazy, people would try to go to like bring basketball in. NBA is 82 game season and it's equal conferences. They try to bring the NFL into it. NFL has 32 teams. This is professional athletes in an 18-week, 17-game season. With every team in the AFC South plays the NFC West and the AFC West. Like it's set. All the teams in the same divisions are equal. The difference in college football, every division is not equal. The SEC is not equal to the ACC. The ACC is not equal to the Big Ten. The Big Ten is not equal to the Big 12. Like, all these conferences and divisions are different, and they all play different schedules. Some people's schedules is weaker than others. So if you're going by strength of schedule, then like nobody should have an argument that Bama is. If you took the decals off, what people try to make, if you took the decals off and just put their resume up, you're not gonna argue with the resume of Bama. Yeah, it's good exposure, but we know what's gonna happen. Corey, we got any more questions about the CFP? He said, "See y'all in the Natty round 3. Go Dogs." Man, I knew that was gonna be a tough game for us, playing y'all in the state of Georgia twice, playing Kirby Smart twice. All the injuries we had, and when the game started and we couldn't run the ball, I knew it was gonna be tough. It's like you just don't want to get into that position where you can't run the football. And Georgia was sitting with 2 safeties high, and we couldn't run it. And people like, well, that's why Bama like, yeah, but hopefully they'll have Jam Miller and Quavos and LT Overton. Hopefully, like all those guys will be back, because Bama needs a more balanced approach. Because Georgia was just playing coverage and running stunts the whole game. Said Ohio State all day. Man, you got to be impressed by Indiana going 13-0 and beating Ohio State when nobody really picked them, and winning the Big Ten. You got you got to be impressed with Kirk Cignetti. Yeah, and Corey, that's why I said like Georgia beat us up front. And when I knew that we couldn't move the ball on the ground, like it's tough to play Kirby in a phone booth like that. Because when it breaks down to it, Kirby is a better coach than Kalen DeBoer. So it's like if we one dimensional, it just played into y'all hands.
Let me teach you how to
All right,
vibe.
any more questions about the CFP? Topic number 1 before we get into topic number 2. It feels good to be a Bulldog fan. I pissed him in band vibes that game. It was funny. I mean, but this is the thing about me, and this why I feel like I have an advantage over most content creators. I'm unbiased. How many people y'all know there's Bama fans that didn't show up when Georgia beat Bama? I literally was here and like, hey, bro, like Georgia beat us. I ain't make no excuses. It's so many people that try to make content that are not critical or don't show up when they team take their ass. I didn't make no excuses. I just said, man, Georgia just beat us up front. -3 rushing yards. You can't make no excuses for that. Georgia just physically, they wanted it more. I think people underestimated the fact that Carson Beck got injured and Gunnar Stockton came in and they won the SEC championship. And then in the playoffs, Georgia with Gunnar Stockton could not really pass the ball and move the ball in the playoffs. And I think that was like their bulletin material when they got their opportunity back to say because Gunnar Stockton on the sideline never celebrated. He looked locked in the whole time, like they was dialed in to try to. It's almost like a unfinished business type of situation for Georgia, you know, being in that, you know, wanting it so bad because they was there last year, and the injury to the quarterback for Gunnar Stockton is like it's his chance to prove, you know, to redeem himself for not being developed as far as he is now to run the team in the playoffs. I think that's one of the biggest things that people overlook. He said, "You want to Notre Dame again?" He said, "That's why we rock with you." Bill, what up? He said, Ohio State's a good football team, shit. You gotta chill. Zay. I mean, but then too, I had to really make that statement. I thought that was corny. Notre Dame declining the bowl bid, you know, being some suckers. Last year when Bama got left out, we still went and played our bowl. You know, and Florida State got left out that year. None of their players played, and Georgia put 100 on them. You know, it's like, have some pride. You didn't get in. You'll get a good bowl game. Go beat the other team and build momentum for the next year, and show why you should have been in. But to opt out next year, if they're in the same position, if I'm the comedian, I seen them opt out of a bowl, you know, being sore losers, I'd do the same thing. I'll leave them out again until they join the conference. Next year, get in the ACC and win the ACC championship, play the extra game, and get in. Michael B say, what's going on? Alabama got a chance to prove everybody wrong. Got to get healthy. I mean, it definitely got to be more physical up front. Like, Oklahoma is a similar build to Georgia. Is the quarterback is not going to beat you throwing it 50 times. They're not going to try to bomb you, but they can stop the run up front, and they can get after your quarterback with 4. And that's how they beat us last time, by pressuring Ty and making us one-dimensional. Alabama, to be Alabama, has to be able to run the football, even if it's QB design runs, even if it's getting Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard involved in the run game. But they got to be able to move the ball on the ground to where teams just can't blitz and cover Ty. But that's, you know, Notre Dame fans won't be honest with themselves and come to grips with that in the same state Indiana is taking over the state of Indiana, and they left out and outside looking in. Y'all want to talk about bias with Alabama and disregard our strength of schedule and the gauntlet we went on. Talk about bias would have been Notre Dame getting in, even though they're not in the conference, didn't win the conference, and the team that they think they should be in over beat them head to head. So they want you to ignore head to head. They want you to ignore they're not in the conference and don't have to play that extra conference championship game, but just think they're automatically supposed to get in. That's not how it works. If we want to talk about somebody being biased, that would be biased. See, I'm glad picking at the right time. I mean, Zachariah Branch. Hey, but Corey, if any of y'all didn't get a chance to check out before we get into topic 2, I got Tennessee Titan 2-year rebuild video on YouTube. Dalen Everett. This how y'all know I ain't biased. Nobody was even saying his name. I had Dalen Everett around 100. He was one of the cornerbacks I took along with Chris Johnson from San Diego State. And those were the 2 cornerbacks I took in my latest mock draft. And I was in my head saying, KC Concepcion is going to be taken high, but for the value, I'd take Zachariah Branch down in the 3rd round. I think it'd be a better value pick than KC Concepcion. That's why people wonder why I never had Concepcion in none of my mocks, because I feel like when you get down in that 2nd and 3rd round, if you got Brazel or you got Zachariah Branch, or you got Barian Brown, you got some guys like that that's going to be down there, like, you're going to get more bang for your buck because the Titans have a lot of holes. All right. But let me get into part number 2. That's one. That's take number 1. If y'all missed the CFP, y'all had to go back at a different time. But let's get into this, because this was quite the game. Kevin Stefanski. Shedeur Sanders went absolutely nuts in this game. 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 2 sacks, 3 carries for 29 yards. He led them in rushing and threw for 364 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. You gotta respect what Shedeur Sanders did today to get his team all the way down within 2, which I didn't agree with going for 2 the first time. I hate that teams listen to analytics. You kick your extra point, you kick your extra point again. The game goes to overtime, and you're at home with a more talented football team. That is the rule. The rule is, if you feel like you're the better team, you go to overtime. If you feel like you're rolling the dice and you need to get out of there, you're the road team, you go for 2. Touchdown, Cleveland Browns. And what happens? Stefanski takes Shedeur off the field, runs a trick play, a wildcat. It's unsuccessful. Titans recover the onside kick and kneel the ball out. There's no way, no chance that I have a young quarterback that throws for 364 yards and leads me in rushing after he made an incredible scramble to even score the touchdown. There's no chance that I take him off and run wildcat when a quarterback that hot. You can't find me a team that thinks that running wildcat when you got a quarterback that's thrown for 364 yards. He accounted for almost 400 yards of offense, and you took him off the field to run wildcat. Along with, it was one play where Stefanski, Titans jumped off sides on a punt. They could have taken the ball. They elected to decline the penalty and take the yardage from the punt to try to pin the Titans back within the 5. I'd never seen a team across the 50 decline a penalty that would give them a first down with the ball. You would have kicked the ball off to get the ball back to get better field position. That had to be like one of the most biggest coaching blunders I've seen. People talk about they want Stefanski. He's 2-time coach of the year. I don't want Stefanski in Nashville. We obliterate Mike McCoy for doing these same decisions and Brian Callahan for making these spineless decisions. You're a 3-win football team playing a team that has 1 win. Y'all are both picked in the top. The Titans and the Browns picked 1 and 2 last year. The Browns are going to pick a top 5 again. And they have the Jaguars first round pick this coming year. The fact that he decided to decline that penalty and to run wildcat on the 2-point conversion, it just baffles my mind that we had got a classic game from Shedeur and Cam that came down to a 2-point conversion, and they took Shedeur off the field. If this ain't sabotage, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Brad, what up? Hey, Brad, you missed the Bama. You missed the CF. I did the first 30 minutes with CFP. There's no way you could look. We're gonna finish this Titan portion of the shop talk. You can get in the booth. There's 0 chance you could win a debate about why Bama shouldn't be in. There's just no chance. All right, that's sabotage from Kevin Stefanski though, because it's ego. You would have to admit that you played the wrong quarterback. You would have to admit that it was dumb to trade Joe Flacco in division to the Bengals. You would have to admit all these things, not giving him reps, swearing that the offense was better with Dylan Gabriel, and that you burned a 3rd round pick, a top 100 pick for nothing. Today would have showed that it's the player, not plays. Sometimes people could claim to be the best coach in the world, and they want to be the person that called some genius wildcat that got them a tie game, rather than saying this quarterback has just made plays for us today. Now, they both made rookie mistakes. Bush tricked Cam into thinking it was man and went zone and dropped in on an interception. Shedeur got baited, throwing back across the middle late, interception to Xavier Woods.
Let me teach you
But
how
other
to
than that,
vibe.
I mean, these two guys competed. They got out of a lot of pressures and sacks today. And just, I mean, you seen the play where Cam Ward threw off Grant Delpit with one arm and body slammed him just to throw the ball away. I seen Shedeur get out of Jeff Simmons a couple times today. I don't know how he got loose, but was able to get the ball out and get it away. But ultimately, these teams are both struggling franchises right now, and it's obvious why. That when you look at Cam Ward and his number one option today is Van Jefferson, who dropped another big dime from Cam Ward. And you think about Shedeur with Stefanski being spineless in a couple of situations, and his other players not helping him. Critical fumble from the Browns on a check down that really kind of put distance in this game, as well as James Williams with a block punt. So a lot of things happened in this game. I was excited. It was one of the first times that the Tennessee Titans was in a good fourth quarter game. Even if they'd have lost this game, it still would have been a good showing for them to go on the road and have the most rushing yards that they've had since Derrick Henry has been gone, going all the way back to like 2022. So Tony Pollard had a career day, and my, oh my, Crystal Ball's in the chat. For the first time this season, Tennessee Titans had more rushing yards than their opponent, and they won the game on the road. Corey Levin in, backup center, no Cushenberry. Dan Moore and J.C. Latham did a good job on Myles Garrett. Peter Skoronski, Kevin Zietler played
Let me
well.
teach you how to
And the tight ends
vibe.
blocked well. Gunnar Helm had a huge block on Tony Pollard's touchdown run. So you just want to look at that situation and say that the first time the Tennessee Titans coaching staff decided we got a rookie quarterback, instead of him throwing the ball 50 times against Myles Garrett, let's reduce his attempts. Let's run the football and commit to it, even when it's not working. And then you get a day like 35 attempts for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. And, just even in the passing game, 3 different tight ends had catches. Tajay was involved in the run and the pass today. I think they did a good job of getting the ball out hot and not listening to Shotbybuddha and not having Cam Ward drop back 40, 50 times versus Myles Garrett. It would have been bad.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
The O-line played good today. But then I think about like some of the like Cam missed Chim DK on a deep ball that would have been a touchdown, and Van Jefferson dropped that fade route that would have been a touchdown. So you think about the one that Cam missed and the one that Van dropped, that would have been a huge spike in Cam's passing overall yards. But 2 touchdowns passing today.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Was impressed by the way he managed the huddle, getting in and out of protections, getting the ball out, not taking sacks. I was surprised Cam Ward went a day where he didn't have any of those weird like muffin shotgun snaps, or with a backup center on the road, you got to worry about like bad snaps and like his footwork and handling and just overall management of the offense. Even when they ran the orbit motion and RPOs, the handoffs was clean. The RPO fakes on the runs. A few times when plays were blown up where he just got the ball out and didn't take sacks. I thought he did a great job managing the game on the road. So big win for the Tennessee Titans. And if y'all, get a chance, go check out my YouTube video of what I think about the 2-year, how they should rebuild the team, the 2-year rebuild. And if you watch today, I know I'm very critical of the cornerbacks, but having Kevin Winston Jr., our free safety, that's a dog. He made some good plays in this game. Played nickel back corner and taking our starting nickel that's a rookie, Marcus Harris, and playing him outside and putting Xavier Woods back at free safety with Baker Jr. like being so thin at cornerback, playing guys out of position. You know, you see when Jerry Jeudy makes Darrell Baker fall down, or when Baker gets dunked on by David Njoku. You know, you see the lack of talent at the cornerback position, and I'll be happy that, you know, maybe even Alam, he wasn't ready the first 2 weeks. Maybe he gets into the rotation, but in this upcoming draft and in this offseason, they have to address the cornerback room. Last year they spent $120 million on corners, and Cheeto and Snead is not around, and you know, Jarvis is gone, Rogers gone, but being so thin at that position, you know, lining up, backup, you know, special teams, practice squad level cornerbacks on Nico Collins, on Jerry Jeudy, on Jackson Smith and Jigba, week in, week out. You kind of seen how it's ended up with guys falling on the ground and not even being in position to make a play. It's a tough situation, but that's definitely a position that they got to upgrade talent, because I love to put Marcus Harris back at the nickel. He's the one that forced the fumble on the check down. Marcus Harris, I think, is a really good player, and Kevin Winston playing free safety that would allow two bigger physical corners to play outside. I think the Titans defense will only grow, especially getting Femi back next year and taking one of the top edges in the draft.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Is that Shedeur balled out? If they leave Sanders in on the 2-point, yeah, that's why I said Stefanski. I felt like he sabotaged. You know, you got a quarterback that's accounted for almost 400 yards of total offense that just scored and took you down. To not give him a chance at that 2-point conversion just don't make sense. You said what I think about Shedeur? What I always thought about Shedeur. I mean, I've been on record saying last year, I said if the Titans brass felt like Cam Ward is the number one pick, I'm cool with the number one pick. If they didn't like Cam like that, I was cool with them trading back and going after Shedeur, or maybe Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe, or even Will Howard. I like Will Howard too. But what wound up happening, they fell in love with Cam Ward. If you haven't got a chance to check out his documentary on Tubi, it's free. It's really good. And you see the toughness and just the leadership that Cam Ward and the humility that he got. Because what I like about Cam Ward and Shedeur, they never let the media get in between and make them verse each other. You know, they did the jersey swap. They had the same QB trainer. They trained together. They homies, and it was good to see them both ball out today. So, you know, Shotbybuddha would have been just as happy if we would have had Shedeur Sanders at quarterback this year. But, you know, I'm happy that they took Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward was the right choice for Nashville, for the Titans, because like they needed a guy that's gonna hold people accountable and be part of this rebuild, because they both are not in good situations. Like, I don't see Stefanski coming back next year. I think the Browns is gonna make some changes and try to build around him, which they've already wasted a pick in Dylan Gabriel up to this point. And I thought they had a really good draft. If you go back me on record on draft grades, I gave them a really good grade, because they got their draft pick this year, which will be high, and the Jaguars draft pick. So they'll have 2 firsts in this upcoming draft. And obviously they got the best defensive player in football in Myles Garrett. And then with the Titans, a lot of holes on the roster, but you got to see some of the young guys, you know, James Williams with the block punt, Cedric Gray with double-digit tackles and the fumble return. You got to see Kevin Winston Jr. make some plays. You got to see Marcus Harris force a fumble. Obviously, Big Jeff is going to do what Big Jeff does, but, you know, you get to see Tim DK catch a touchdown and be the NFL all-purpose yards leader this season. You got to see Alec Aomana come back off of his injury and regain, you know, kind of pick up some of the steam where he left off with a touchdown catch. Gunnar Helm with a lot, like, getting way better as tight end one in the blocking. In next game, when Gunnar Helm makes a catch, he'll be the Tennessee Titans all-time rookie leader at tight end next game once he catches his next pass. So, you get to see some of the young guys step up. You get to see JC have a good game. Titans best running output in 2 years. So I was impressed today. Just at the fight, it was an entertaining game, but both teams and franchises still got a lot of work to do because Tennessee Titans need a head coach, and they need to have a really good draft and a really good off season in free agency. It's amazing what happens when you give a rookie quarterback a run, because both teams got really good defenses. So it's like the Browns wasn't able to run the ball, and they got one-dimensional passing, and it got them behind at a point. And then you look at the Titans, but one thing about the Browns that they have, the Browns are really good in the short game. The Titans are not good in the short game. The screen game, getting the running backs involved, the Titans haven't been that good because, Judkins had a 58-yard screen pass. Sampson had 5 catches for 64 yards. So even if their running backs didn't punish us running the football, that's 120 yards receiving and 6 catches from their running backs. And Harold Fanning had a day, 8 catches for 114 and a touchdown. And Njoku had a touchdown. So they backs and they tight ends really eat. So it's like that kind of supplements they run game. And that's something that the Titans got to understand. Like when the run game ain't there, the short game got to be even better. The screen game, the tight ends, the backs. Gasman was good. The third pick in the draft. Do you still want to trade back if everything falls this way? I think if a lot's got to happen, right? Let's say the Titans get pick 2, pick 3, pick 4. Who comes back? I think Ty Simpson goes back to school. Dante has, said he wants to go back to Oregon. What if Mendoza is the only quarterback that comes out? And let's say, like, is it the Raiders? Is it the Jets? Let's say one of those teams get the first overall pick and pick the quarterback. We'll be in the position that the Browns were in last year, right? In the position the Browns was in is everybody knew the Titans was going to take Cam Ward 1. So when the Titans took Cam Ward 1, the most valuable pick I told y'all would be the Browns. I feel like the Browns kind of had the key to the draft.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
So if the Titans have the best strength of schedule of all the teams that's in the top 5 in the draft order. But just to recap, the Browns trading pick number 2, which no other QBs was taken in the first round. Because people are screaming for Abdul Carter, but Browns traded the number 2 pick. The 104 was the 4th round pick, and number 200 a 6th round pick. So they traded 3 picks to go back 3 spots to number 5, and then they got a 2nd round pick, number 36 in their draft. It was a pick swap on the 4th. They traded 22 spots in the 4th, and then they got the 1st round pick of the Jaguars. So basically a pick swap. So you remove that. So they sent the number 2 pick and the 6th round pick for 2 1st round picks in a 2nd. If the Titans got something like that, like a 1st round this year, that's a top 5 pick, a 1st round next year, a 2nd round pick on top of that, like that's still a lot, because you're still going to trade Will Levis and get pretty decent trade. The Ravens probably not going to make the playoffs now that they lost to the Steelers today. So Draymond Jones is still a 5th round pick. So as it sits, the Titans got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, 2 5s, and 2 6 and a 7th. But then you still got a few more pieces. That Corey Levin played so good. Like Cushenberry could be on the market. If they want to go back into the draft at left tackle, Dan Moore could be on the market. You can't trade Snead and Ridley. If Tony Pollard continue playing like he played today, like Tony Pollard might be a person that they trade next year along with Will Levis. So they got a lot of options in that department, but that's kind of a comparable idea of a top 5 pick if you traded back what all you could get for it. Because the Cowboys got 2 first rounds, the Rams got 2 first rounds, the Jets got 2 first rounds, and the Browns got 2 first rounds. So you got 4 teams that got 2 first round picks, and the Browns trading out of 2 last year, going back only giving up 3 spots. Got a future first round pick and a second round pick and a pick swap. So when you look at that, like, you're still gonna pick a lot of times in the top 100. He said had a reality check, had to see the down, tell him we hear him, seen too much loss. That's love though. That's definitely love. D King with 2,000 days, all off Madden tournaments. 1,700 days from Deacon Loafing. Dash Daily with 1,400 days. Man, y'all been in here for a long time. Roll Tide. Loaf. He said we stuck in draft hell. One of the 5 teams that are 3-10, but at the bottom of the 5 due to the strength of schedule. Yeah, and y'all got the belt today too. It's gonna be interesting to see what team takes the shot at Kyler Murray. I got a feeling that y'all gonna do with Kyler Murray what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson. I think it's the last year of his guaranteed money. I think the Cardinals might eat some of Kyler's contract to move him. You know, if the Browns don't want to go forward with Shedeur, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of teams clamoring to trade for Shedeur if the Browns don't want to name him number 1 quarterback, which I don't know why they wouldn't at this point. Or, you know, Will Levis will be on the market. Kirk Cousins will be out there. You'll have Mac Jones out there. It'll be a couple of free agent guys. And unfortunately, you know, Daniel Jones gets an Achilles injury today, and the Colts are back to having Riley Leonard as the only active QB. You know, does Daniel Jones get a contract from the Colts now? He's only on a 1-year deal with $14 million guaranteed. That could be a bad situation for Daniel Jones. The Colts just traded their future for Sauce Gardner, and then Daniel Jones goes down, and they may not even sign him to a long-term deal. He's probably not gonna, if he's seriously injured in the surgery, depending on how that goes. Like, this is a person that might not be ready to start next season. You think Kyler could go to the Colts? He said, I saw Tony Pollard take off and had a tear fall. Did wonders. Hey, congratulations. Yo, Johnny, what up? Man, good luck if you playing mutt. Hope you got some chill pills. They said they have to have him off the roster by the 5th day of the new league year. Otherwise, his 27 guarantees kick in. So where does Kyler Murray go? Because, like, teams like y'all who don't get into the draft mix for a QB, like, this has been a year where I started saying, like, I'm not in the crowd of Titan people that want them to tank. I would love to have the number 1, but it's more important that this young team have games like they had today, right? Because there are no guarantees in the draft. You know, Moore and Ty Simpson could go back to school. Then Fernando Mendoza is the only QB. And if the Jets get that first overall pick, the 2nd and 3rd pick become important then based on who people are after and what they want. It changes the whole draft and the whole draft order. You know, then we're going to go down the strength of schedule for who gets.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
For who gets the highest ranking seeds. Because you remember last year came down to the last week. Titans get 1, Browns get 2. And then you had who is it? The Jags, Patriots. Top 5 was kind of wonky at the end of the year, so it's like, and the Giants. It was the Titans, Browns, Giants.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Jags, Patriots. It was the top 5 draft order. Patriots wind up being a better team. Jags wind up being a better team, and they was the one that traded to get Travis Hunter from the Browns. You know, it's like you don't know what you're gonna get when it comes to draft day based on who's coming out, who gets injured, what free agent QBs is gonna be available, who would take a chance on it. You know, you're gonna be giving up draft capital if you trade for Kyler Murray. So it's gonna be interesting to see the moves that some teams make. He said Colts in trouble for playoffs for sure. So he left the crew. Man, everything been good, man. We've been dropping daily podcasts on the YouTube. Been multi-streaming the Shop Talks. So make sure if y'all haven't, make sure y'all follow on all social media on Facebook, Kick, YouTube, and Twitch. And then on YouTube, we dropped the condensed versions of Shop Talk broken down. He said all the Titans hitting the Shedeur. Yeah. I mean, Shedeur balled on them, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I told people coming into the game, like, I was hoping that now do y'all see me when I say I hope that Elam is healthy and grabs the defense and gets inserted into outside corner to get Marcus Harris back in the slot and to get us some depth at corner? And y'all was like, nah, man, Elam can't. He's trash. Like, did you see Baker Jr. getting done? And shout out to Baker Jr. because he fights. You know, he's a practice squad, special team type of guy that has become, out of necessity and desperation, the best corner that we have on the outside. And, you know, Marcus Harris is learning to play outside and playing well, forced a fumble today. But, you know, if Baker Jr. is on the number one corner, JSN and Nico Collins and today Jerry Jeudy, you know, those guys are going to put numbers up. Eric was good. Yeah, I would have liked to see Stefanski not ruin the classic. I mean, when you look at this and you see these numbers from Shedeur to not get a chance with that 2-point conversion, I feel like Stefanski took something from the fans. And it goes to show a lot of people been saying that he wouldn't sabotage him. That's team sabotage. I like to be a fly on the wall to what those players thought about Shedeur not getting the ball in the last play of the game, because, you know, you don't get the onside kick recovery and the Titans take a knee. You just got to say, like, as a coach, man, you got to want more. You got to want more for your team. You got to give them an opportunity. And today the opportunity was taken, that you didn't want to look like the coach who didn't want to play the young rookie who was 4th and 5th string on your roster, who everybody wanted to see. And when you finally put the kid in, he's did nothing but produce and ball since he been in there. And for the Shedeur haters, today, I don't see y'all out in numbers commenting, because he accounted for 400 yards of total offense, 4 touchdowns. I mean, what can you say? And Jeffrey Simmons and the boys was lighting him up too. You know, so it's like, it wasn't like he wasn't doing it under duress. $15-30 to his head coach. 130 points in the last 3 NFC West games. 130. Yeah, when I seen 45-17 today, I was like, geez, like, he got to turn true clock on, man. He said, you know, I've been in the past about him, but when he puts up those kind of numbers, fire the head coach. I mean, that's what usually happens when you draft a quarterback in the first round. The coach get fired. I mean, Daboll, Callahan, and you know, Stefanski is only there because they didn't take Shedeur in the first. But, you know, imagine if the Browns would have took Shedeur where they took Dylan Gabriel and had an extra 3rd or 5th round pick on top of what they already got. It's like they burned the pick. And Deshaun Watson is now back active, you know, and there will be the question is the NFL team gonna bring him into their room? Tyler Shuck ball today. Yeah. I mean, the Saints pull off the win over the Buccaneers in division today. And, you know, Tyler Shuck's been playing better as the season goes on. And that's what you want to see if you rebuild, and you want to see your young guy get in and show some improvement And, you know, a lot of people want those for the Saints, for the Titans, for the Jets, the Browns, the Raiders, the Giants, the Cardinals, all the teams that's in their runnings for the number one pick. Everybody wants the number one pick, but you want to see your young guys out there struggling and not finding ways to win and get better. You know, realistically, you take a couple of wins and worst draft position in the top 5, then your team lose out and you lose the heart of the players that you did draft, that you got in your facility. The last 3 NFC games: 44 versus Seattle, 41 versus San Francisco, 45 versus the Rams. That's tough. Robert was good. All right. So those are the topics that I wanted to get in. Bama and the CFP, the Cam Ward, Shedeur face-off classic today. It was cool to see. Now it's time for y'all questions. Man, y'all got any questions y'all want to shoot? Rabbit, what up? About the CFP, about the games today. Go ahead and shoot. Because a lot of y'all be disagreeing with me on the post. Then when it's time for us to do the back and forth thing, y'all don't be around, man. I don't duck and I don't hide from. I stand on business. I stand on business about all the things that I come up with. He said everybody on the defense look checked out. Yeah, that's when it's time to fight. See, one thing you gotta say about the Titans is I don't think Cam Ward or Jeff Simmons would allow them to not play hard and not fight. And that's what I like, what's being built in the locker room amongst the players. Now, you know, for the coaching staff, I think this is one of the better call games from Bo Hardegree and Mike McCoy and Nick Holes. I will give them their credit when credit due, that they found a game plan to get away from Myles Garrett, to commit to the run game. 35 rushing attempts today, best rushing output in 2 years. And I told y'all, when you got a rookie, you got to be able to run the ball and keep people from pinning their ears back, because if the Titans would have got down 2 possessions on the road, I can only imagine the things that Myles Garrett would have been dreaming up of ways to get to Cam Ward. My question, since we won today, we do not have the number 1 pick. We're in a scrum now where the number 1 pick will go to strength of schedule as the first merit, but the Tennessee Titans have the best strength of schedule. Tennessee Titans got the best strength of schedule of all the teams at the bottom. So right now, the Giants would have the number 1 pick. The Titans would have the number 2 pick. Raiders would be 3. Commanders would be 4. Saints 5. Browns 6. Cardinals 7. Jets 8. Bengals 9. Falcons 10. So your top 10 picking order, that's how it would go. That would be your top 10 picking order. Obviously, the Titans and the Giants, neither one of those are looking for the number 1 pick. So if you the Titans, you know, you play the 49ers and the Chiefs the next 2 weeks. Very tough games for us.
Let me teach you how to
vibe. And then we play the Saints. So I will say the Titans-Saints matchup will be one that has a lot of implications to the next draft. And the Giants and the Commanders play next week. And Commanders are 4th in the picking order and Giants are 1. So if the Giants beat the Commanders, they would swap places. And the Raiders and the Titans would be at the top of the draft order. If the Giants if the Commanders won the game, it would probably put them around the 10th pick in order. So, but you know, Jaden Daniels didn't finish the game. Mariota did. So that's a huge game for the draft order, is the Commanders Giants. So everybody should be watching that. Raiders play the Eagles, Texans, Giants, and then the Chiefs. So the only potential game that the Raiders could win is the Giants, but I think the Giants are a better football team than the Raiders. So I think the Raiders will be at the top of the picking order. I think the Giants got one more win in them, at least. And you could potentially have the Saints and the Titans play week 17 with a lot of implications on the draft. The Jets still play the Jaguars, the Saints, the Patriots, and the Bills. So the Jets' only winnable game in my mind left is the Saints. So it's like the Saints kind of control their destiny for can they get the top pick. And then this Giants Commander game is going to be a huge game in the draft order. Storm Niles, what's good? Miles breaks the record next 2 games. Let me see who the Browns play. Browns play the Bears, Bills, Steelers, and Bengals. Well, those are 4 quarterbacks that's going to hold the ball and try to make plays. If ever Myles Garrett was going to break the record, he'll get his shot because those 4 quarterbacks are going to be in the game for 4 quarters and they're going to be throwing the football. What's good, Storm Niles? Hope everything been good with you.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
State of Indiana has had bad luck with ankle injuries. I hate when I come in late. We started with Bama and the CFP. Then we went to I'll put it on the screen for you so you'll be able to see. We started with the CFP and Bama getting in and all the crybabies. And then we went to the Shedeur Cam Ward Classic, the Kevin Stefanski Sabotage. And now I'm just taking y'all questions, you know, because nobody going to convince me that this Stefanski didn't sabotage that game. I mean, he got 1 sack today. Dan Moore and J.C. Latham did a really good job blocking, and the Tennessee Titans ran for more yards today than they have in 2 years. That was their best game running in 2 years. And lo and behold, people stopped talking about Cam Ward when Tennessee Titans can run the ball.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Because I knew that we couldn't beat the Browns if Cam got to drop back 40 times, like, you don't win. Big case in point. Alabama played Georgia last night. Ty Simpson dropped back 39 times and got hit 20 times. Bama had -3 rushing yards. When you one-dimensional in teams that can rush the passer, that got talented edge rushers, you just put yourself in harm's way. It's only a matter of time. How do I feel about the Group of 5 conference winners? James Madison and Tulane. I mean, Tulane's already played Ole Miss. We knew how that game ended. And James Madison, even though these are good stories, what they really should have did is let James Madison play Tulane in a January 1st bowl game and take your pick. Put Notre Dame at 11 and decide whether you want Vanderbilt or Texas at 12. In that case, Texas beat Vanderbilt head up. Then your 12th team would have been Texas. You know, that would have been for the money. Texas go to Oregon, winner play Texas Tech. And you would have had Notre Dame go to Oxford, winner play Georgia. You know, I think that would have been better for the viewers, better for putting the 12 best teams. But you know that's something that this is a new thing. This 12-team field, and they tweaking it every year. I just think in time they're gonna get down to realize like it's a cool story for James Madison, but they got to go to Oregon. And it's a cool story for Tulane, but they got to go back and deal with Ole Miss again, you know. And if those are 2 blowouts, you got to start questioning: Are you helping James Madison and Tulane, or are you hurting them? They said we cut it in a way. This is him, a fan football dude, and said his lineup, so I missed the playoffs. Oh, that's tough, bro. Yo, congratulations on the baby being on the way. How does OU versus Bama rematch look like in my perspective? In my perspective, Bama needs to get Quavos back. They need Jam Miller back. They need LT Overton. They need to be at full strength. Oklahoma is going to play Bama the same way Georgia played them. They're going to try to stop the run and make them one-dimensional. And last time, you know, Oklahoma got outgained very badly by Bama. And it just was a matter of like the turnovers came back to bite them. Bama couldn't go down and put 3 up to end the game, even though they got the score. even though they got the stop. So you know that's a tough situation. That if you Bama, I mean, Mateer was 15 to 23 for 138 yards, no touchdowns. Oklahoma had 74 yards rushing. Ty Simpson had 326 yards passing, 28 to 42 for a touchdown and 1 pick. And Bama had 80 yards rushing. I think Bama got to come out and be able to establish the run and make Oklahoma score points. They lost 2 fumbles in that game and threw a pick, 3 turnovers, and you lose by 2 because you can't go down and get 3. Bama got to get healthy because Oklahoma can stop you rushing 4, and they can get to the quarterback rushing 4, similar to Georgia. And I'm pretty sure Oklahoma is going to take the same game plan that Georgia had, which is run on the perimeter, pass on the perimeter, spread Alabama out, take your shots when you have to, but ultimately try to stop Alabama from running the ball and put them in a drop back passing mode and get after Ty Simpson. Like that's got to be the game plan in that same matchup, Becker. That's a good question too. It's going to give us more 65-7 Georgia versus TCU games. He said Indiana number 1 seed. Is this basketball, right? Notre Dame out, Indiana in. Y'all pull Miami and Ohio State. Blame Elko. Not a lot of penalties that we usually have. Yeah, we still can make a lot of good moves, Robert. The thing about the Titans and the number 1 pick, for the people that want us to tank, all you have to just think of is Titans are going to have a first, a second, a third, a fourth, 2 fifths, 2 sixths, a seventh, and then they're going to get picks from whatever they trade. If it's Will Levis, if it's Tony Pollard, if it's Lloyd Cushenberry. In my mock, in mine, they and more. Like if you're able to move some of those guys, and you're going to have $120, $130 million in cap space. If Bergonzi and whoever the coach that they hire, along with Cam Ward and Jeff Simmons, can convince some free agents to come at some critical positions like defensive back at corner.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
In places like that, can they get a Breece Hall to come sign in Nashville? Can you get Isaiah Likely to come, or Kyle Pitts? Can you get some of those guys? Can you get a Tariq willing to sign? Can you get some of those type of Alante Taylor, somebody to come sign and play defensive back? It helps your draft board out to where you're not stretched so thin, because you're still going to get Femi back next year. At edge, you're going to have a couple guys that's going to come back and be healthy for you. So when you look at it like that, like the Tennessee Titans still got a lot of moves that they can make. So I'd rather them win a couple games here and pick 5 and still have a good offseason like the Patriots did last year. Or, you get to number 1 and your rookies are so beat down that you have a bad offseason in camp, and it's a less attractive job for a coach or a free agent. Because I like what Jeff Simmons said about that is we don't care about the number 1 pick. We want to win games and put some on tape to set a standard of the coach and the players, the rookies, the free agents that come in, of having a tape to show them of, I want to go play with these guys. Bada, what's good? This dude running the league, then set up. Them Texans on right now. I'm watching them on the other screen. In all reality, Virginia had to do was win. Duke created a nightmare. I told y'all last night, Bama lost by a nice margin and Duke won the ACC. It just opened up chaos. I told y'all last night, if y'all in my Discord, I said it's gonna be chaos tomorrow because they got to figure out who they want. And for the people that don't like the fact that Bama got in, if you take out Bama, you're gonna remove conference championships and you're gonna have teams not scheduling out of conference. And Notre Dame, they crybabies. They're not gonna play a bowl game this year. Bama played their bowl game last year when they got left out of the playoffs, and they're saying, well, we shouldn't have scheduled Miami. Well, you should get in the conference and play a conference championship. And for the people that want Vandy in over Bama, well, Bama beat Vandy head up, and people want Texas in. Texas.
Let me teach you how to
vibe. You know what I'm saying? And then if Bama don't play in the SEC championship and Ole Miss play, if Ole Miss would have lost to Georgia, do you put Ole Miss out? if Texas A&M would have lost to Georgia, it's like you can't get in these cities. If Oklahoma played if Texas played, you can't give people credit for sitting at home, and you can't punish a team that played the toughest road for playing in that championship game. The real question is, should Notre Dame, Texas, or Vanderbilt be in over James Madison and Tulane? That's the real griping question you got, because questioning Alabama and Miami in my mind is just a person being a fan and being biased. If you're a Notre Dame fan and you say we should be in over Miami, even though Miami beat y'all, I just really gotta take everything you say in sports with a grain of salt. EP was good. Commanders going for the number 1 pick now. Yo, appreciate you, Storm. Tap in with me. Hey, if you ever miss what we do in the shop, man, tap in on YouTube. We had these. I break these down in condensed forms for the YouTube. He said, I think in reality though, then do away with conference championship games or go back to divisions, set up teams in the divisions to play for the title game. The only thing about it, Kyle, is unlike the NBA, unlike NFL, all the divisions are not equal. Big Ten is different. SEC is different than the Big 12 and the ACC or the Group of Five. In the NFL, the Titans play the AFC West and the NFC West. So the Colts, the Titans, the Texans, the Jags got to play the Chiefs, the Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos. They got to play the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. All 8 of those teams have to be on those schedules from the AFC South. So when you look at it like that, it's 32 teams. It's 17 games in 18 weeks. And it's clearly defined tiebreakers. When you get into college, everybody's conference and everybody's schedule is not created equal. So if you set the parameters to say conference titles matter, strength of schedule matter, then you can't do away with conference title games. You can't do away with strength of schedule and then just go to whoever we feel good about today. And how much money is that going to cost the SEC not having Bama and Georgia in the Georgia Dome? How much money is that going to cost the Big Ten to not have Indiana and Ohio State play a last minute game like that to come down to the very end? Like, you talking about putting 100,000 people in the stadium with an expensive ticket and then turning around. What do y'all think these tickets gonna look like this upcoming week? You know what I'm saying? Like, Oregon James Madison ticket ain't gonna be crazy, but at Oklahoma, Alabama ticket gonna be stupid. That's just Tulane, but they're gonna have a party in Oxford, and for Texas A&M, the 12th man with all the military people in Miami, like that game right there is gonna be an expensive ticket. You talk about being at A&M Stadium and playing Miami in the playoffs, like that's gonna be a high ticket. 100,000 people, that stadium gonna be rocking. So you gotta look at that extra revenue that they're gonna get off of this. These schools is not trying to pass on that. And then for after that, like how crazy is those tickets gonna be? Yeah, EP, y'all definitely up there for the number 1. Y'all play the Giants next week. If y'all lose to the Giants, it's a good chance the Commanders could be vying for one of the top picks in the draft. He said, just saying. They need to play in scenario conference championships are worthless. Get rid of it and take the top 12 or 16. I don't want to see it expand no more. If we being real, all they got to do is just take this automatic qualifier stuff from the Group of Five and throw it away. Let Tulane and James Madison play a January 1st bowl against each other, and let them have their own little championship, and then just put Notre Dame and Texas or Vandy up here. Like, who really cares about teams 13 through 16? I don't. I mean, maybe I'm more cold-hearted. I don't care about teams 13 through 16. I really don't. Like, I don't want to see no more play in nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like having Bama, Georgia, and Atlanta in the SEC championship. I like having Indiana, Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just when people's team don't make it in, if you Vandy and you're not in, you say maybe you should have beat Bama. If you Texas and you're not in, you say maybe we should have won one more game in the SEC. If you Notre Dame, you're saying if they would have beat Miami, they would have been in. They didn't. Because this ain't like the old BCS or old AP poll era when there's a 13-0 Notre Dame sitting there that didn't get in, or you know a undefeated team. We talking about teams that got 2 losses crying. Like, bro, if you got multiple losses, like, you shouldn't even really cry about not making it in. Bama didn't cry and say they wasn't gonna play in their bowl game last year when we didn't get in. They said, why not play a game to play the final 2 spots? We're gonna make Texas and Vandy play each other again. You're gonna make Notre Dame and Miami play each other again. This just happened to be a year where the teams at that bottom already played each other.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you gonna make them play again? So Miami got to play Notre Dame for the 10th spot again. They already played them. They already beat them. Vanderbilt didn't deserve to be there. Vanderbilt lost to Texas and Alabama. So if you're saying the last 2 in and the first 2 out of those teams, all right, look, let me go to the screen so you can see. The last 2 teams in was Miami and Bama, right? So you saying Vandy. The other team in front of Vandy is Texas. Texas beat Vandy and Bama beat Vandy. So, like, if we getting into a stage where, like, teams that beat a team, you saying Vanderbilt deserve to be above Bama and Texas even though they both beat them. That don't make sense. It said Notre Dame shouldn't be in. Because Notre Dame is number 13 and they would be fighting with Miami, but Miami already beat them. So I don't know. I don't see what people's argument for the teams that got left out to be in. If you think you could win that argument, man, the doors of the church is open. I just don't think there's nobody that can legitimately convince me teams that got beat by other teams should be above those teams that beat them when their records are equal.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Bama has one of the best wins of any team against Georgia. Don't matter about yesterday. Notre Dame beat nobody this year. Tough. My thing is, Bama would have had to beat Georgia twice in the state of Georgia twice. And at the end of the day, any team that didn't get in that felt like they should have been in above Bama, I need them to line up and play Wisconsin, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, and Oklahoma in a 2-month stretch and just play them all back to back to back to back to back to back to back to. It don't matter who get injured. It don't matter how beat up you is. It don't matter how tired. It don't matter if every one of them is a primetime CBS, Fox Sport, ESPN game. Line it up. Play a 2-month stretch like that, and then you can come back and cry about why Bama's in there. And the team that beat Bama last night, Bama already beat them at their home stadium. So it's like, I don't get it. Say, who do I got winning? I don't know. It's going to be anybody could win it, really. Because last year, the teams with the byes lost. Some teams that had byes last year lost. Really, I say, I always say in the playoffs, like it's a war of attrition. Who's the most healthy? Somebody's quarterback or running back or star player might not be there. Remember last year, Georgia beat Texas in the SEC championship, but then Carson Beck was out, and then you put in a Gunnar Stockton in, and he couldn't move the ball in the air. Tighten up, Steve. Coop, what's popping? Man, we got y'all coming up. Coop, don't start talking trash, man. 49ers play the Titans coming up. Glad we got our dub today. He said, thank God y'all won. Comedy, y'all play the Commanders next week. If they sit Jaden Daniels, y'all gonna win, and then the Commanders gonna swap places and be at the top of the draft board. Tisk tisk. He said play a schedule like Florida and then line it up. 8 ranked teams out of 12 games. You know my thing about Florida though, Kyle. Fired Dan Mullen too early. And if y'all want to see that, man, hold up. Make sure y'all go check out my YouTube. Make sure y'all go check out my YouTube, man. Those are videos and pods that I did recently. So I did a pod on teams that have fired their coach too soon. Florida is one of them. If y'all would have still had Dan Mullen and gave him more time, Florida would be right now. But y'all didn't. You know, teams got to stop doing that, man. Like seeing another team in their state playing, like Florida State had a good year. Y'all got rid of Dan Mullen, and now Billy Napier then got fired and is on to James Madison, and Florida is still down in the cellar. And Florida should not be in the cellar. Florida should not be in the cellar. Yo, D'Angelo. Yeah, hey, that boy Daniel Jones is done. The Jags and the Texans is around here fighting for the AFC South. What a change of events, D'Angelo. What a change of events. But I told people preseason, I said, between the Texans, the Jags, and the Colts, it's not much difference in those teams. I said the Titans will be there at the bottom. I said at best we win 5 to 6 games, and like I couldn't have guessed that we fired our coach in the first month of the season and traded away half the team. But you know, people that don't watch the AFC South football don't know how close the division always is every year. It's not much difference between those teams because like they all hate each other. It's all gonna be an ugly game. I mean, as good as the Texans have been the last few years, they've never been to an AFC title game. It's been a minute since the Jaguars has been with Blake Bortles losing to the Patriots. And then the Colts, has been a minute for the Colts. Going back to Andrew Luck, Deflategate was the last time that they was close. You know, Tennessee Titans in 20 lost to the Chiefs in the AFC title game, but our division is always close. And another interception by the Texans. Got a jet talk soon. Make sure y'all tap. If y'all don't get a chance to tap into the live streams, make sure y'all tapped in on YouTube and Twitter. I always respond to all the comments. That way we can say I'll stay tapped in if y'all can't make it to the streams. The football posts that I make daily on Facebook, the tweets, the YouTube shorts, which are broke down versions of this shop talk. Oh, ball hit the ground. They might not give him the catch. The Colts are being cursed. And see, these are long-term implications of, remember when I said the Colts are smart? They had Anthony Richardson. They signed Daniel Jones. They haven't extended him yet. And then they drafted Riley Leonard. Now they get a good look at Riley Leonard down the stretch. And that's why you draft a guy when you bring in a bridge. But now, do you extend Daniel Jones for a long-term contract with him having a bad injury? I hate that for Daniel Jones because he was balling this year. But you know, what do they do with Anthony Richardson? Do they sign Daniel Jones? Do you let Riley Leonard play for right now and sign Daniel Jones to a contingency deal where like it depends on like, remember Carson Wentz had that deal where it's like he got to play 75% of his games to get his money or something like that. Like it could be something like that. It's interesting to see what the Colts do now, especially if they like fall out of a favor and don't make the playoffs, which would be absolutely nuts. Hendricks, what up? Because, you know, I've always been a fan of like draft and go young or get a bridge and draft and rebuild your team that way. Players tend to not be right their first season after Achilles tear. It takes 2 seasons to get right. I remember Ryan Tannehill on that high ankle sprain. He had his when Mahomes had his, and he never recovered. Look at Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins came back halfway through. Like he came back early, and I told y'all it was a mistake. Halfway through the season, Kirk Cousins never looked the same. And even now, like Kirk Cousins don't look like the same guy that was on the Vikings. Jones is cooked. He might get a 1-year deal again, but Achilles tear, I don't know what's going to happen because it's halfway through the season and he's getting injured, which means he won't be back ready 100% until 9 or 10 months. So we talking about him being potentially ready by the bye week of next year. And I don't know if the Colts, they've already leveraged their future with Sauce Gardner and he's hurt too. So like, you know, it's sad for the Colts because I really like the makeup of what their team was. They drafted a QB. They had another guy that there's a project at quarterback. You get Daniel Jones for cheap. You got Jonathan Taylor. You got Tyler Warren and Mo Alley Cox. They got a good offensive line. You like the makeup of the Colts. And now it's like the year that started out so promising for them could, you know, go down in flames. And look at the Bengals today, losing pretty much their season is over against the Bills. And then the Ravens season's pretty much done, losing to the Steelers, which was crazy. Crazy end to the game. Colts got unlucky. They really did. Because Daniel Jones was having a year. So, like, even more to add to this is if Moore and Ty Simpson go back to school, Fernando Mendoza, whoever gets that pick, is gonna spend their life for that pick. And, you know, guys like Deshaun Watson, guys like Kyler Murray, Will Levis, even on the Cowboys, Joe Milton, like it's gonna be some guys that's out there that teams are gonna want because there's no way the Raiders are looking at Geno Smith. They got to pay him next year. The Cardinals, like as good as Jacoby Brissett started out as spell, can't be it. You know, the Browns have wasted away from Flacco to Pickett to Deshaun Watson to Dylan Gabriel all the way to Shedeur. You know, now Dylan Gabriel sitting out there, you know, it's like, but it's a lot of teams that's in a tough situation quarterback wise. We've already went over the Colts. Like Davis Mills will be a guy on the Texans if CJ Stroud is healthy. If they want to really spend, if they want to get value, I think you could get some good value out of Davis Mills. You know, it's some QBs out there that they stock and went up because teams are not gonna have that many options. As everybody was saying, oh, this draft was trash. Remember I told y'all, I said, man, I really like the QBs in this draft. I mean, we seen Cam Ward, we seen Shedeur, we seen Jackson Dart. We haven't seen Milroe, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers. We haven't. We about to get to see Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame. Like, we're gonna get to see some of these guys get a shot. And who's coming out? If Ty Simpson and Moore go back, and Fernando Mendoza is gone as the top pick, what other quarterback who's really basing their draft stock on Carson Beck, Cade Klubnik, Lenora Sellers? Like nobody's really, you know, spinning out for those guys who everybody swore that Nico Lamiava and Tank for Arch and all these things, like it wind up not being true. I think this draft is going to have a lot of skill position players, wide receivers, corners, safeties, tight ends, like positions like that. I think you're going to see a lot of those. Interior linemen are kind of deep in this draft, second, third round and back. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out because the Giants and Commanders play this week. That's going to have a lot to do with it. And then the Titans and the Titans and the Saints play soon. So it's like a lot of games. They're going to have a lot of first round draft pick implications. And, you know, if you the Saints or you the Titans, you know, the Browns, like you want your young guys to win. I know the first round pick sounds sexy, but man, you want to win. Because even last year, Titans got the number 1 overall pick. And the Browns is the one who got all the value from the first round trade, sitting at 2. Trading back with the Jags. You know, the Rams got 2 first round picks. The Cowboys got 2 first round picks. The Jets got 2 first round picks. You know, it's a lot of teams that got 2 first rounders just coming up year that could really help their roster. Like best player available, not just the top pick. You know, it'd be nice to get that mother load trading the top pick to whoever wants Fernando Mendoza, but you know, it don't always work that way. Do I think John Harbaugh gets the boost from the Ravens? I think if the Ravens and the Steelers fire Harbaugh and Tomlin, they get hired instantly somewhere else. Had to come over to Kick, the purple is tripping. I mean, drop them stickers, man. If y'all on Kick, you got picture in picture. You got 50 free emotes in the chat. And you got no ads. I hear people talk about Mike Tomlin and Harbaugh, but the question you got to ask yourself is, are you going to be like Penn State? Are you going to fire the coach and then be reaching at the end and have a bad draft class? Like, if you get rid of the longest 2 tenure coaches in the NFL and Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh, you know, and John Harbaugh had, you know, a month and a half of no Lamar Jackson, you got to ask yourself, like, who are you hiring? Do you have an offensive minded guy that's already on your, and you got to think, McDonald, Denard Wilson, all these coaches that left the Ravens the last few years. Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator for the Steelers right now. Like, it'd be different if you had a young guy on the staff that you felt like you wanted to move this guy up. You know, when the Titans had Mike Vrabel, LaFleur, and Dean Pease, and, you know, Dick LeBeau and Arthur Smith, these type of guys as coordinators, you know, if they was going to fire Mike Vrabel and promote Matt LaFleur back then, that's a different kind of call. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's on the staff for the Ravens and the Steelers right now that you would want? If you fire Mike Tomlin and made Arthur Smith your head coach, like, does the team get any better? No. It's like you got to have the right plan. I mean, I still say having Brian and Bill Callahan out of the lineup for the Titans the last 2 months, the bye week is what helped Cam Ward get better so he could watch himself on film and really slow down and decompress, you know, and recalibrate itself. When you think about how the run game has looked up until today, it's been pitiful. You know, the Titans fired Callahan and didn't have a plan in place because Mike McCoy definitely wasn't, you know, shout out to the coaching staff for the game plan and getting the guys to fight this week, you know, but we talking about going from the Raiders game into now, and the decision making in the run game and nothing looked any different. Yeah, Stefanski does not like Shedeur Sanders. And he ruined that classic game today. That's what makes me think that we might be able to trade Kyler Murray. I don't know about Atlanta because they still got Penix, and you know, Penix and Cousins has got a $180 million deal with nothing left guaranteed on it. But I'm sure if they move him, they want to get some value in return. But then again, if Michael Penix is not healthy, like, what do the Falcons do? I think if you Kyler Murray, you're trying to get to, if the Jets don't get the top pick for a quarterback, if the Jets, the Raiders, or the Colts, if you Kyler Murray, you trying to get to one of these established teams that already got a little something set up. I said them not having their first round pick, they're not going to want to trade their second or third. Yeah.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
D Ford. It's tough for a lot of teams. Like, navigating the NFL season with 18 weeks and 17 games is not easy. 2 times. Hey, 2 times. If I told you before the season that that the Commanders would be a team fighting for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft after being in the NFC Championship last year, nobody would believe me. Nobody would believe me. Nobody would believe me. But it's crazy that the Giants and the Giants and Commanders game next week has a lot of implications on the NFL draft. It wasn't a fluke year. I mean, Jaden Daniels, they got him beat up. I'm going to tell you the mistakes they made. They traded Brian Robinson to the 49ers, and Austin Eckler immediately got an Achilles injury. So a team that had Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson with Jaden Daniels left Jaden Daniels running around too much. You got Jeremy McNichols and McCroskey Merritt, which those guys are good, like, receiving type of backs, but like they just didn't have that same thump that Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson got. They were like more physical backs. You know, the injuries caught up to. I mean, like I told you, like Jeremy Chin left last year. They got Deebo Samuels, but you know, Deebo is not always healthy. McLaurin wasn't always healthy this year, and I just felt like them playing a playoff schedule, the Cowboys was better. The Eagles is still the Eagles. And I knew the Giants would be a better team. The division got tougher, and they got less healthy. And when Jaden Daniels went down, even that Mariota is a solid veteran and has played good for them, it ain't like having Jaden Daniels on the field. So I ain't going to say last year was a fluke. Last year was lightning in a bottle and something hard to recreate. So that's why I said I feel like the Commanders would come back close to the pack this year. I felt like the Giants and the Cowboys would be better than they was last year. But as I also said, just because you better don't mean you're going to have a much better record. Because sometimes you can have better players and just by the way the ball bounce, you know, a team by the way the ball bounce, a team could not have the things go their way. There's McCroskey taking that step. And that's cool, but there wasn't. You can't account for an Achilles tear from Austin Eckler. Like that's how that, like, you know, you giving up one to try something, and then now you kind of stuck with where you at. And what a lot of people don't see is even like in the Bama Georgia game. Okay, Jam Miller is out and Riley is out. You know, Hill and AK Deer are good backs, but blitz protection is not the same. So like Tajay and Tony in, if you go to a third running back for the Titans, he might not have that. He might not be as good as in blitz protection. And when you get to the NFL and you get to high level football, your running backs got to have good blitz protection. You know, and sometimes that's how you could get a QB beat up. I call you for a quarter pick right now. I say cheese, pull it off somehow. I don't know. Ravens went down. Bengals went down. Buccaneers went down. Is this the year we don't see the Chiefs in the playoffs? Twitch is tripping. Every message is unable to send. It could be somebody doing some spam thing and they got some blocker on there. You got the Texans walking it off. I mean, this is a must-win game for the Chiefs. See, people don't think much of him, but that's the type of player that the Titans could look at in the offseason. You know, if you want to replace where Van Jefferson is at, is a Tyquan Thornton. Cheap guy coming from a good franchise. There was a good, you know, a dunker on the outside, but I really want the Titans to put young guys around Cam Ward. I don't want to go after Alec Pierce. I don't want to go after Daubs and wind up paying $20 million for a guy like that. Like, to me, go in the draft, you know, get you to follow my rebuild, get you to two nice outside guys to mix with A.O. Monter, DK, and Restrepo, and then you got a young room. Yeah, you draft and let them grow together. I don't want to see the 20 million on Alec Pierce. I don't want to see 15, 20 million on Romeo Dobbs. That's my own personal opinion. There's just a lot of people that, because see, to me is the number one receiver on the Colts is Michael Pittman Jr. And then I think the best overall receiver they got is Downs. I think Downs is a good is like a good route runner, twitchy guy. You know, they traded AD Mitchell, but to me, Pierce is not a number one. I just don't think the Tennessee Titans should spend $20 million on a number two type of guy. Just because they be number one in Nashville don't mean that they are number one. You know what I'm saying? Like Dobbs would be cool as a two, but I mean, are you gonna spend $20 million for Dobbs to be incrementally better than A.O. Monter? And you don't know what A.O. Monter's ceiling is right now? I just think that looking at the depth chart, the way I see it, Tim DK is clearly your slot. I think you go get two outside guys, or you get an outside guy and a guy like Zachariah Branch, and you mix in a guy that's a good move guy with a good outside guy, and you get a better rotation. And then when you need, you bring Restrepo in certain situations, you know, first down, quick slant, zone buster, you know, type of guy. Yeah, I would only spend money like that, but like a Jay Jettis. But I mean, you got to think last year, even with Brian Callahan's ties to Cincinnati, they couldn't get T. Higgins, and T. Higgins was 4 years, $115 million. I would spend that money on T. Higgins if T. Higgins was our one. I would spend that money if Jay Jettis was our one. But then to get Jay Jettis, you're talking about giving up probably 2 first-round picks to get Jay Jettis. And I don't think that type of capital, you can't spend that when you have so many holes on your roster. When if let me pull up my rebuild so y'all can see. So y'all go check out the whole video. Y'all will be able to see it, but I'll pull my rebuild up just so y'all can kind of see what I did. You know, if I traded back, and my first pick was Arvell Reese, and then you get Femi back. So just think about next year on the edge. You got Arvell Reese and Femi on the edge with Jeffrey Simmons and T Sweat. You got Sebastian Joseph Day. You bring him back for depth. You got Jahar Ward back for depth. You got Jalen Harrell, a guy we drafted. You got James Williams. You got some depth guys in there, but you know, you got Arvell Reese and Femi. And then my number 2 pick in the trade back, I went with offensive lineman. You go with Caden Proctor. Based on, that was at the bottom of the first round. And then you got Skoronski. And, you know, Corey Levin played good today. But if you can go out and get a free agent, you talk about spending money. I'd spend that 15 to 20 million on Tyler Lindenbaum. And then, you know, we drafted Jackson Slater. We got Drew Moss and Blake Hance and Corey Levin. You can put any of those guys at right guard and J.C. Latham in year 3. Your line gets more athletic. Then you got Oli Udoh and Crenshaw Dixon to swing. Like, you upgraded your line. Gunnar Helm is tight end 1. Chig, unless it's a team-friendly extension, I don't see Chig being there. So when you go to my draft and say my next picks was Denzel Boston as your starting 1, then Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State. If y'all ain't seen his tape look crazy. And then I went right back to receiver with Brazil. Now, if you wanted to wait a little bit and put Zachariah Branch in there and move AO back to the 2, and You had Denzel Boston, Ayo, Zachariah Branch, DK, and Restrepo. Like, either way you went. I just picked big guys because I like big physical wide receivers because Cam throws balls that you need somebody that got a catch radius. So Denzel Boston, Brazil, DK, Ayo Monter, and Restrepo. And I also went and got Breece Hall in free agency. Now, if you wasn't able to get Breece Hall and you got Tajay and Mullins, I still drafted Raleek Brown at the bottom of my draft. He just don't have a card for me to put him in there. But, you know, on defense, my top 100 pick was Dalen Everett. Y'all got to see him get an interception in the SEC championship. You know, a big physical corner that can play all over the field. You know, you got Kevin Winston back at his natural position opposite the hook with Cedric and Cody in. And then I had Harold Perkins from LSU as my 5th round pick right here as a backup middle linebacker. I just made the whole team overall better. I think they got to have a free agent or a draft class like that in order to put a 53 that they can help Cam Ward compete with. Texas defense in lockdown mode. Oh man, 87 in the check. Chiefs just missed the field goal. First round picks on the team. You built, just need one extra piece. Chiefs feeling the pressure, going for it on 4th down, 31 in the tie game. Yeah, they is. And they just missed that extra point. I mean, that field goal, not extra point. Things ain't going the Chiefs' way tonight. This gonna be a true test of their championship heart. Do the Chiefs have what it takes to continue fighting? Because the Texans ain't giving them nothing. But keep the questions coming, man. I love this portion of the shop talk when y'all ask questions, and I just really get to go through and answer a lot of questions that y'all have about the games that's played, CFP, Titans, playoff picture, any of that. I think my mama just pulled up. She outside. Let me go help her get her stuff out real quick, and I'll be right back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull that rebuild up because it's gonna take me about 5 minutes to get her out, and I'll just let that run where y'all can kind of check that out until I get back. It's not trying to fix everything in one off season. It will clearly be a 2-year rebuild. And this is how I would do it. If y'all not following my Facebook, if you follow the Facebook, you've seen this post I had today for a 2-year rebuild, which was signing Tyler Linderbaum, center. I don't know if the Ravens will have the money to re-sign him. If they don't, the Tennessee Titans should be all over. 2-time Pro Bowler already, coming into his prime. Lloyd Cushenberry out again this week with a foot injury coming from an Achilles. Corey Levin. If they're not missing a beat from Corey Levin to Cush, you know, this might be a situation where you go out and get the free agent center. You try to go after Breece Hall at running back. Tony Pollard is gone. Ridley is gone. Snead is gone. And you re-sign Jahad Ward, Corey Levin, SJD, Elam. If he plays well these last 5 weeks, he didn't get a chance to get on the field last week. He hadn't been there long enough. But I think they should slap him out there. I don't see why. Baker Jr., who's been the best of the backup defensive backs at corner, And Udo, because he can swing, him and Crenshaw Dixon, that gives you some depth behind it. You don't have to run out trying to fight for depth. And then if you could move Dan Moore Jr., Cushenberry, or Levis, even if you got to eat a little contract on Moore or Cush, if you could get anything back for those two guys, I would. And when Levis comes back healthy, you should be able to get good value on a draft pick. He's the first pick in the second round 3 years ago. And then I would try to extend Skoronski and Jeff Simmons because they are the staples of what you want to do up front. And then I went through a mock draft of a trade back similar to the Panthers Bears trade without getting a player, because the Bears got this and a player, 1,000-yard receiver in DJ Moore. But if I traded back, Arvell Reese obviously would slide into the edge opposite of Femi in year 2. My second pick that I had taken in that first round would be a little controversial, but I would have taken Caden Proctor. And my reason being is if I could find a way, a partner like we did with Dennis Daly and some of those guys that were way worse, that we was able to move. Just go young, just go full youth movement. You have a center guard triangle where you have this left side of your line should be able to run the football left. You put Jackson Slater in at right guard because you got some veteran right guards that could come in, and then J.C. Latham, year 3, second year back at right tackle, fully healthy, no hip injury. I think you should be fine with having solid depth behind that. My next pick, Denzel Boston, physical outside receiver. All right, I'm back. I just had to go help her get her stuff out. See how the Titans get the number 1 pick again. We don't. Can we do a playoff mock? Top 10 mock on PFN. We can. I felt about Pollard getting off today. I thought it was the first. That's the best rushing attack the Titans have had in 2 years. And I've been telling y'all all season that the Titans have only that's the only game the Tennessee Titans had more rushing yards than their opponent. And y'all see how different the offense flowed because Myles Garrett just can't pin his ears back and come after the quarterback. He has to get screens thrown behind him. He has to get off tackle and RPO runs where DK and Spears is running wide, but Pollard is coming inside, so you got to pick your poison. And then Cam kept it a couple times, even though he didn't have a lot of rushing yards with it. It's just enough to make the defense play the Titans more honestly, because we don't have receivers that can get separation against man coverage when people man blitz us. We can't punish teams like some of the other teams in the league that have true number 1 receivers that can beat man press. And Rashad, that's a lot of it. Like they talk about the complementary football, but when you can run the ball, you don't got to drop back 40 times so that, because I mean, think about it. It's unfair to ask Dan Moore or J.C. Latham to block Will Anderson or Myles Garrett 50 times in a game, in the passing game, where a lot of those are second and long, third and long, right? When you run the football, you're ahead of the chains. It's third and short. It's second and short. It's dump offs to Tajay Spears. It's dump offs to DK. It's dump offs to Pollard. It's dump offs to A.O. Monter. Like nobody's really having to work downfield to get open 10, 15 yards. The offensive lineman is not having to block for 4 or 5 seconds, not knowing where Cam Ward is behind him. So in those situations, like being able to run the football does so much for the team, field possession wise, giving the defense a breather, a chance to take a break where they're not on the field for 45 minutes in a game because, you know, not only time of possession, but you flip the field. So far, Iowa State, Kansas State, Baylor, and Notre Dame have declined their bowl games. Colleges, the new G League. And I'm going to tell you, that's sucker stuff. That's sucker stuff. When Bama got left out last year, they played their bowl game. How did it work for Florida State when they benched their players and sat out against Georgia, and Georgia blew the doors off them? Georgia is still at the top of the CFP every year, and Notre Dame has, not Notre Dame, but Florida State has fell off a cliff. It's something about having some heart and some pride and saying, you know what, they left us out. Whoever play against us, I feel sorry for them because we finna go show out on y'all and put some on tape for the guys in the portal, for the guys coming back next year that didn't start this year, for the seniors and the guys that this is their last year. We're finna go put something on tape and we finna go put hands and feet on somebody. And I just think teams opting out, like Iowa State lost their coach. Okay, y'all was all about y'all coach. No pride. Kansas State. Who cares about Kansas State? Baylor. Who cares about Baylor? Notre Dame. Who cares? Get in the conference, play a conference championship, or beat Miami next time. Nobody cares that Notre Dame don't wanna play. Take your ball and go home, bro. And guess what? I hope the committee remembers all the teams that sat out their bowl games because they felt like they got left out of something. Leave them out again next year. I mean, CLE, did you see my like the title to my stream and to my post I made earlier? We jumped off sides and y'all was across the 50 on a punt. He declined the offsides that would have gave y'all a first down, instead wanting to pin us back on our own 5. I've never seen a coach cross the 50 decline a penalty that gives him the ball back. I mean, CLE, have you ever seen that in your life? A penalty that gives you the ball back and you decline it across the 50. And then for them to go for 2 when it would have made it a 7-point game, and then have to go for 2 at the end, and a quarterback with 400 total yards all purpose. Harold Fanning was unstoppable. Jerry Jeudy was making them backup cornerbacks fall on the ground. Our defense was gassed, and Shedeur just had a crazy scramble. And even Shedeur was looking like me, like when he came off the side, like they ran Wildcat. I've been dogging the Titans for running Wildcat in short yardage situations. Like, you don't draft Cam Ward to be first and goal. I mean, basically a 2-point conversion for the 2, or 3rd and inches, or 4th and inches, and not run QB sneak or not give them a run pass option situation. Because the crazy part about the Browns is if you don't get it, you got to kick an onside kick, and to not give your quarterback who is that hot. When's the last time Cleveland had a quarterback be that hot in game? 400 total yards. 360 passing, 4 touchdowns, and led the team in rushing, and you're not going to put the ball in his hands for the game. For sure, tanking, there's no way he's holding Sanders back. Now you get to see in times where the Titans do weird stuff, and you like, why would you do that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's been times where we was in the same position, like we've been on like the 37-yard line, 4th and inches, and they punted. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff. Like, bro, what is going on, bro? Like, we got a kicker that's made a 64-yard field goal this year, and we're passing up on a 50-some-yard field goal to punt and not even going for it. It's just stupid. Yo, KD, what up? KSC is done for. ASC West finally getting the crown. Notre Dame is acting like they got screwed. They're not that good of a team. Y'all talk about Bama bias. Notre Dame is the one that's mad about the bias. JTM, what up? Of course, the week I don't go crazy on Sanders' best, he goes off. If I would have made the best, it'd have been making like 2 weeks, about thousands today. Man, crazy. EJ Nito. Saints got the dub today against the Buccaneers. EJ. I mean, CLE, how crazy does it get, bro? How crazy? Like, Stefanski robbed us of a classic that if Shedeur got the 2-point conversion, the Titans would have had to try to. The Titans would have had to try to get 3. They wouldn't have been able to sit on the ball. Like, they would have had to try or take a chance of the Browns getting the ball back. Like, they would have had to throw it at least once. He said, DJ, Lil D said, perfect timing. Your boy showed out today. Yeah, so now it's making for some interesting things. The Commanders lost, but the Commanders play the Giants next week. And it'll have a lot of stipulations on the number 1 pick. And the Titans play the Saints in week 17. Got a lot of stipulations on the number 1 pick. I think the Raiders only got like one more winnable game on their schedule. So it's like, it's going to be really interesting. Because if Moore goes back to college and Ty Simpson goes back to college, Mendoza, their number 1 pick, is going to be more and more valuable the less amount of quarterbacks that come out. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how this last month of football shakes out, because the Titans play the 49ers and the Chiefs the next 2 weeks, and to see if like, I'm pretty sure Titans they haven't put 2 games together in like 3 years. Like, there's no way they're going to beat the Niners this coming week. And then you talk about playing the Chiefs, a desperate Chiefs team. Then we play the Saints. So it's like Saints and Jags. So and the Jags could be playing that last game for the AFC South title. So, it's a lot on the line in these next couple of weeks with these matchups based on who's going to get the number 1 overall pick, with quarterbacks that might all be going back to college. And I told y'all last year, I was not crazy on this year's quarterback class. And, people was talking about, Drew Aller and Cade Klubnik and Lenore Sellers, all those guys, like Carson Beck. And now this year it's like for the Fernando Mendoza show. So the first round, that first pick, and the Cardinals in the situation they in, Raiders, teams that have more veteran quarterbacks that thought they might have had a better chance. Commanders are going to be at the top of the list of guys going for that draft pick, as well as who's the other team? The Colts. The Colts are going to be in the conundrum. Like, they got Riley Leonard. They got to see what they got in him. But Daniel Jones done. He's not under contract. I don't know if they signed him to a contract while he's injured. And then you got Anthony Richardson still sitting out there. So, like, there's a lot of teams with some decisions to make. Like, does somebody take a shot at Kyler Murray from the Cardinals, get a sweet deal to get him for a year for free? Like, what happens? Yep. I don't foresee a world where we beat a desperate 49er or a desperate Chiefs team. About to hit this art. We gonna talk this week. All right, for sure. He hated Stefanski for years. He's useless. Says Saints trying to win. Oh my God. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. As much as I wanted the number 1 pick, I take a win over the Saints and the Jags. Ruin the Jags playoffs hopes. I take a 4-win Titan team, picking at 5 or 6. Richardson not bad, but that draft is weird. Like, Will Levis has all the physical tools. Anthony Richardson has all the physical tools. The problem with Anthony Richardson and Will Levis is the mental part. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the and I don't see Anthony Richardson going somewhere else where he has more talent behind him than in Indianapolis. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Gardner Minshew and Joe Flacco and Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz won in the Colts, and he can't. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a tough situation. Like, Mac Jones might be the most valuable free agent QB, to be honest. I mean, I don't know how valuable Will Levis will be coming off injury, being completely healthy. I don't know how valuable Kyler Murray is. You know, I don't know how valuable Kirk Cousins would be. You know, like the free agent QBs, like how valuable are the guys that's available? What's crazy is Miami is in the mix now. Mahomes is pissed off. I mean, but to be honest, like the Chiefs, like Xavier Worthy is a gadget guy, but he's not really a guy that's gonna punish no defense. I mean, Rashee Rice is good. Juju ain't got much left. Tyquan Thornton is a good, solid role player, but the Chiefs don't have. When you think about the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills, like none of them have like a premier elite receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like none of them have. If I'm the Chiefs next year, I'm trying to get Isaiah Likely or Kyle Pitts, the heir apparent to Travis Kelce, and I'm trying to get Jay Jettis over there or a top receiver in the draft. Vikings played good today, but I mean, they played a beat up Commanders team. Vikings going nowhere fast. Jay Jett is going to the Niners. They better draft him a receiver. We definitely gonna do a new mock today because I hope the AI is updated to where like the Titans ain't the number one pick, and it'll give us the AI on what type of pick would be available. I mean, what kind of draft trade would be available for the Titans if they were if they're in like their current spot, not the number one spot. I ain't see it. I just seen the headline for it, Lady. I'm kind of squeamish when it comes to like looking at injuries. I'm not one of them people that like to see stuff like that. I can't look at it. So this game is at halftime. We could look at one now. Let's see. Like this thing probably doesn't update. It probably doesn't update until. It probably don't update until all the games is played. Let me see some. Oh, it's already got it. It's already got it, y'all. All right, so it said the Giants just took Arvell Reese. Just took Dante Moore. That's assuming Dante Moore come out. Let's see what the trade offer is now. The Browns would offer a second round pick next year for one position down. The Steelers would offer a first, a second, a seventh, and a first and a second next year for the third pick. He said halftime is the fourth quarter. Oh man, I probably messed around when I went outside and messed something up. All right, I'm gonna save these, and this is gonna be its own post. Oh, Dallas Cowboys offering 2 first round picks, a 6th round pick, and a second next year. Hey, so let's see. The value ain't the same. The value ain't the same for these picks, but this would kind of be. I mean, even right here from the Titans, I take this trade. Trade back one pick for a second next year. I'd make that trade. You know, I'd make that trade. You know what I'm saying? Who cares about one slot? Hold on, let me see something. Which one of y'all those trades y'all like? So you like the Steelers trade a first, a second, a first and a second next year over Dallas's 2 firsts this year, 6 and second next year. I kind of like Dallas's trade better because you gonna get high picks from Dallas. You know, the Steelers sound cool by having another first, but I kind of want my draft picks now. I like Dallas's trade. So we'll do one with Dallas's trade, and then we'll do one where we just pick it with no trade. All right, so look, we're going to take Dallas's trade and see who Dallas wanted. All right, so they top 10 was Arvell Reese to the Giants, Dante Moore to the Jets. The Cowboys wanted Ruben Bain. That would make sense if the Cowboys was trying to get Ruben Bain. The Browns took Fernando Mendoza in true Stefanski fashion. The Saints took Ty Simpson. I don't think this is a realistic draft board. Carnell Tate to the Commanders, Delane to the Raiders, Lomu to the Cardinals, Keldrick Falk to the Rams, Caleb Downs to the Bengals, Makai Lemon to the Vikings, Peter Woods to the Dolphins, Kenyon Sadiq to the Ravens. Titans would be sitting there and saying Jordan Tyson, Maui Goa, Jeremiah Love. Defense, Jamal McCoy, Sonny Styles, Avion Terrell, David Bailey. If this was to happen, the Titans would have to go offense. Jordan Tyson, Jeremiah Love, or Francis Maui Goa. If the Titans got in a situation like this, this would be the one where I took Jeremiah Love, to be honest. I don't think the draft is going to pan the way that they got it set, but I mean, that might be the draft that I took Jeremiah Love. Because for defense edge, you be reaching at edge. You be reaching at edge and corner. Offense, wide receiver, Jordan Tyson would be there, but it'd be other receivers behind him. It won't be other running backs. Maui Goa or Fanu, if you wanted to go tackle right there, I wouldn't be mad. But I mean, you right. You just about got to take Jordan Love right there. I mean Jeremiah Love. I mean, y'all seen today with Tony Pollard having the best game of his career. You see what a run game could do for Cam Ward. Keith, I'm glad you said something because I didn't know that this game was like this deep into the game. I think I clicked something when I went outside. That boy Mahomes mad as hell. The Chiefs play the Titans and the Raiders, and then they got the Buffalo Bills. Like the Chiefs had to get to 9-7, but the only thing about that is like the teams that they play have beat them in the tiebreaker. They in trouble. The Chiefs needed this game. They got the Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. Like they gotta win out. They gotta get to 10-7. Texans got Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, and then the Colts. GG's. They made the kick. That shit over. Yeah, Houston definitely heating up at the right time. It all started when they beat the Titans. 3rd down and 16. All right, so if I'm in this situation and I'm in the Titans, and all right, look, the Rams offer 31, 63, and 95 for pick number 14 and a second next year. Is there a chance that the Tennessee Titans trade back twice in pick number 29 is the first pick for the Titans? Is that a chance? If they wanted to load up, I think you gotta. I think right here you gotta take Jeremiah Love though. I think a run game for the Tennessee Titans would be more important. Offensive tackle Isaiah World is still out there. This Emmanuel Prignon, I like him at interior guard. I do. But I think if the Titans get into this type of situation, yeah, I don't see a world where you trade back twice. This is Pro Football Network mock draft. As bad as the Titans need edge, I don't like any of these guys at this pick. Best overall pick right now would be Isaiah World. I had to look at his tape. I had to look at Isaiah World's tape. And if I'm where my next pick is, I pick at the top of the second round. He said go to playoff mock. Huh? I thought you wanted to see a draft. You talking about a playoff mock. Oh, you talking about a playoff predictor? Can we do that after sheet, or do we need to just stop doing what we're doing right now and go do what you want to do? Just let me know. I need to see the tape on Isaiah World. I need to see his tape. I can't do it on Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna look at it off kilter. I'm gonna look at it off.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Can look at his Indiana tape. I can get a lot off of seeing this Indiana tape. Chiefs are done. Let me see some. I'm finna look at his Indiana tape real quick. Yeah, I ain't crazy about his tape. I ain't crazy about his tape. As much as this pains me, I had to stick to my draft board at receiver there. All right, trade a next year 4th and the 34th for top 100 pick here. No. 34 and the next year's 4th for next year's 2nd, 56 and 88. This is more similar to what the Titans did this year. I'd take that trade. All right, Titans would lose 22 spots in this draft. Let's see who's on the board. Is there anybody else? Let's see, Will Lee. Let's see. Anybody in the next? Let's see, Oscar Delp, Will Lee, Jeremy Bernard, Parker Brailsford. Seahawks trade looks enticing because if you look, we go from 34 to 65 to 103. If you give up this 34, you're going to get, I'm taking the Seahawks trade. And let's see what we lost. I like to do these because you get to see what we lost. Okay. A lot. Surratt, Oscar Delp, Gooseby, Anthony Hill, Sis, Brailsford, Willie. Who did they take with our pick? Who did the Seahawks take with our pick? Blake Miller, offensive tackle, Clemson. Now I get to see where. Okay, so we picked 56, 65, 88, 103. So at 56, you definitely go into the defensive side. Who's the best cornerbacks? Oh, man, you take punishment. You take punishment in the defensive backs. This is interesting to see how this shake out. You take punishment in the defensive backfield when you drop down there. I think you got to go a whole different approach. All right, I go TJ Parker right here. My second round pick is an edge rusher. I follow that up with a defensive back. Igbinosun, Jermaine Matthews. I don't know. Who's best available? Yo, is my offensive guard gonna be there? Nah, he gonna be gone. I gotta take my guard. I gotta take my guard right there. Jets trade his ass. Pittsburgh trade his ass. Let's see. We had Jeremiah Love, Denzel Boston, TJ Parker, Emmanuel Pregnon. Defense, cornerback. D'Angelo Pons is only 5'9". I thought. Oh, wait a minute. Pons is only 5'9". No, we can't do no 5'9". Sheesh. Damn, we in trouble, y'all. Damn, Zachariah Branch went to the Panthers right before I got ready to get him. Man, it's going to be a tough draft. It's going to be a tough draft. Bray Hubbard is there. I need a corner, though. I'm taking my corner. Trade 103 for 104. These are pick swaps. Nah, that doesn't do us any good. Brazel and Jacoby. I like Brazel better. I like Brazil better. Man, this is tough when you when people take people off your board. It's tough when people take people off your board. Trying to stay true to what I've been drafting on my draft board. All right, so 142 and 148. We just gotta hope we get lucky here. I need more defensive backs. $148. I missed the I ain't getting any safeties I wanted. Tackles. Sam Keenan. Wide receiver. I messed this whole draft up. I don't even like this draft. Do I think Andy calls his career? I think Andy is there. I don't see Andy Reid leaving. I mean, she wanted us to do a playoff predictor. The Ravens play the Bengals. Chargers and the Chiefs play for everything next week. Bills and the Patriots play for everything next week. The Dolphins and the Steelers play for everything next week. That's a lot of important games next week. Next week gonna pretty much tell the tale. I didn't like that draft I just had. I didn't. I ain't gonna lie. I did not like that draft. See how much difference it is. Titans picking at 1 and Titans picking at Yo, the Steelers threw the book at us this draft. Titans give up 3 and 34 for 7 and 18. Yeah, picking at 1 did so much different. I mean, the Steelers is offering the most, but I mean, you dropping 23 spots in the first round. I mean, what is even there in the first round? As sad as it sounds, the Titans would have to go in here and say, what are we giving up? On offense, you'd be giving up probably Cardinal Tate. On defense, you probably giving up the chance to get Ruben Bain. But I don't see a world where like the Giants stay. I don't see a world. I don't see a world where the Giants stay right there where they don't trade out of 1. It's kind of weird. The Ravens will be giving up a haul 13, 44, 77, 255 in a second round. What do the Ravens want? You know, a 4th, a 3rd for 2 firsts and a 2nd next year. I like this Jets trade though. I mean, go from 3 to 7 and get their first next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, these trades is crazy. Which one y'all like better? Ravens giving up 13, 44, 77, 255 in the 2nd? Or just take the Jets, drop 4 picks and get a first next year? I mean, Tyler Shucker's getting better, bro. Like, I mean, that's what you want to see out of your young QB, right? You want to see him get better? I don't see them trading back twice, but you like the Jets dropping from 3 to 7 and getting the first next year over dropping 10 spots, getting a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 2nd next year. I don't know. I like the Ravens better. I like the Ravens trade better, to be honest. I mean, that's a lot, bro. I mean, you get a top 10 pick and a 1 next year. You getting a 2nd next year, and you getting 3 top 100 picks.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Yeah, especially after y'all let Shaheed go. I mean, this is kind of nice. I don't see the Ravens giving up this much. I don't see the Ravens giving up that much, but I would for sure take it. Dallas is wanting to pick swap 142 for to drop 12 and get 29. Yeah. I mean, look, Dallas's trade is still not bad. A second next year and 2 firsts to give up, was that a 5th round pick? Trading off for Ruben Bain. Dallas's trade is nice. The Ravens trade, I think it's more value in the Ravens trade. I think the Ravens trade has probably got the most value. I'm going to take the Ravens. Yep, you right. They did all that for Ruben Bain. They did all that for Ruben Bain. I mean, Delane is sitting there kind of nice. Desperate Ravens team needing an edge rusher. So Titans pick at 13, 34, 44, 65, 77, 103. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 100 picks. Do you go cornerback or do you go Jeremiah Love? Do you go cornerback or do you go Jeremiah Love? Yeah, he played a good game. I think it's the game plan of just running at him and screening behind him. They had a good game plan to keep him at bay. I mean, you just can't. You just can't let
Let me teach you how to vibe.
you can't just let him get off the slide like that. What's good, piece of man? That's crazy. The Broncos took T.J. Parker. The second I was about to get T.J. Parker, they got him. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's how the draft really go, though. That's how the draft really go, though.
Let me teach you how to vibe.
Eagles snatch up my draft pick. Yeah, I think Stefanski ruined the game, though, piece of man. Like, he should have let Shedeur have his shot down there on the goal line. I think Stefanski ruined the game. You know, I really do. I really think Stefanski ruined the game. I really do. Yeah, that wild card shit was crazy. Yeah, the media is gonna make sure he get fired. The media is just gonna get him out of there. Man, without that first overall pick, it's definitely tougher to deal with the draft. I mean, I could put some shit together, but you know, I'm definitely gonna have to get in my bag if the Titans don't have the first pick. I'm gonna have to really practice that shit. I'm gonna really have to practice that shit. All right, look. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, it's been 3 hours of shop talk. I'll break this down and put it into so many videos tomorrow. I probably can make like 3 or 4 different videos with that. But I'm gonna continue the late night stream and vibe for a little bit. If y'all want to tap into the Kick and Twitch, I'm gonna end Facebook and YouTube and then continue on over there. God first in the chat, 30-second reset, and I'm right back in here.